Oh, we're now live. Exciting.
Good evening.
Hello.
Apparently we are. Let's refresh the page and see. Yes, we are live. Great. Cool. Exciting. All right. Let us know in the chat if you can hear me, and I can sort of see us. So that's a good sign, I suppose. Let me just put in the event the link. Cool. All right.
Hello, someone's there.
Hello.
Good stuff. Cool. All right, so yeah, a few people here. Let's see. Steve, hello. Machine, hello. Another Steve. Philip, hello. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me just expand this. Myself, I'll do that. Cool, that's better. Awesome. Hey Donna, hey JC, how is everyone doing? How has your day been? Let us know if you are watching. Interested to see who is here. It looks like we've got quite a few people at the moment. Hope everyone is doing well. If you don't know, I'm joined by Lloyd, who's in the middle, and Eamon, who is on the left or the right, depending on which way you want to look at it. The person who's not moving their lips right now. The prettier of the two on the outside. Yeah, cool. All right, so I think to start was probably best is just to run through a quick introduction about ourselves, I suppose. I mean, I'll start off really quickly for those who don't know me. My name is Luke, and I've been clean for 2 years now. I'm joking about that. Yeah, I started Amazon back in August 2018 after my first year of university in summer, then dropped out in April 2019 of university to do Amazon full-time. Spent a stint of 6 months in Australia, sort of taking the Amazon stuff along. Then COVID hit and decided to have a pretty serious period with the business where scaled it up a bit and automated. And from there, once sort of COVID relaxed a little bit, managed to sort of head over to Gran Canaria for a couple of months, and then recently to Mexico for a couple of months and got back on the weekend. So I'm currently just isolating, but for me, still 100% OA, taking that along. Don't spend too much time in that. I got a team who manages that all for me. And now I focus more on the sort of iGen entrepreneur brand in terms of providing sort of coaching, training stuff. Yeah, those kind of things, and just trying to build it out for the long term. So Lloyd, I don't know if you want to share a bit about yourself as well, and then we're going to sort of get into some questions now, I suppose. Yeah,
sure. So my name's Lloyd, based just outside Belfast in a place called Hillsborough. Been selling on Amazon for quite a while actually, but it was only for last year. I went full time 1st of July. Absolutely love it. OA, wholesale, and sometimes a little bit of retail arbitrage when allowed. Currently have a team of 3 based in the Philippines and Japan. And yeah, that's kind of it, really. So yeah.
I suppose it's my turn. My name's Eamon McCaffrey. I have been selling on Amazon since about August 17. I was that naive that when I first started, I went limited before I actually set up an Amazon account. So I feel I've come a long way since that. Predominantly started off with RA, then went into OA, then natural progression was wholesale. Currently have a team of 4, which is expanding now to 6 VAs split between Philippines and Pakistan. And I have spent the last sort of 6 to 12 months really sort of pushing the business full time, pushing it a lot more towards wholesale. I've set up my own warehouse in Northern Ireland, and I'm in the process of trying to get it to the point where I can justify full-time staff, so that I can then just let the full-time staff in the warehouse communicate with the purchasing manager, and I can take more of a backseat role to focus on business development. So far, that's a work in progress.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And look, I know I've done a post in this group a while back, but Lloyd and Eamon are actually both now coaches, part of the Amazon Arbitrage Blueprint team. So that's training sort of program we have inside iGen Entrepreneur. So both these guys have managed to quit their jobs through Amazon, selling full-time, as they've mentioned there. And as sort of alluded there, also doing a bit of wholesale. I mean, I do exclusively online arbitrage, but I think that's nice that it brings a bit more of a mix there. So yeah, hello to everyone who is watching. If you are watching, feel free to hit that like and the love heart button. It just reaches the Facebook algorithm, goes out to a few more people. But hello to everyone. Hello to Donna, Harminder, Michelle, Andy, Carlos, Ev, Julie, and Thomas. Thomas is the power team. Yeah, cheers, Tom. Cool, good stuff. So look, it's actually back a while ago. I posted on the 21st of February, which was the day after my birthday, actually. So I was probably pretty hungover when I posted this, but anyway, I sort of said, what is the biggest thing you're struggling with right now? I'll cover this in a live soon. So look, it's been about a month and a half. We'll have to class that as soon. And yeah, I said there, I think I attribute a lot of my success as leveraging the experience of others. And what I mean by that is, look, just make the most of the experience of other people. Eamon knows in particular, when I started out, he reviewed the first item I ever purchased in some detail. I was very paranoid. I spent a long time purchasing it and ended up getting cancelled order anyway. But yeah, leverage the experience of other people. Yeah, I think it's key. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. If you do have any questions, drop those in the comments. We'll get through to all of those. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the questions. But first, I just wanted to kind of say what this mastermind is sort of going to be about. This is going to be a weekly series, and it's not always going to be about Amazon. And we're going to have various people. Some weeks I'm going to be on here. Some week Lloyd's going to be on here. Some weeks Eamon. I'm not going to be on here every week. Sometimes we're going to have guests in the Amazon space. We've got someone who's not very well known in the Amazon space, but has absolutely been smashing it. Actually just quit their job very recently, lined up next week for an interview. I'm going to have like VAs on sometimes. We're going to have business owners in other space. We're going to have wholesale. We're going to have people in like crypto, in internet marketing, in various different fields. And also not just business, but things like personal development, self-development, spirituality. Because I think all those things are really important having, for me, very well-rounded life. When you're an entrepreneur of a small to medium-sized business, I think it's very important for me, at least, to have that balance in all the different, what I call the 10 pillars of sort of life. And so I want to have guests from all those different areas to try and cover those. I think a lot of those skills are going to be, one, interesting and also transferable, and hopefully something a little bit different from the sort of standard Amazon stuff you've probably seen all the time. So I know it can get a bit repetitive, that's for sure. So look, I'm going to dive into those questions, but I don't know, Lloyd and Em, do you have anything you wanted to say first before we get into those questions?
Well, yeah, it's just a lot of times I get told, hey, I want to start, and you're like, great, what would you like to know? And people are like, so do you just buy the items in from China from us? And one thing that I would say is, like, we've got the guide, we've got the Facebook group. I'm assuming that a lot of people that's in the group know a little bit, but there's plenty of information out there. You know, have we look around Facebook first, see what it is you're after, and see is it something for you. And then I like the more nitty gritty. Big picture stuff's great, but if you come to me, you've got a technical issue with the pricing structure of an item or something like that there, or looking at the data tabs at Keepa, that's the sort of anal stuff that really friggin' gets to me. That's the stuff that I love. And a lot of time people go, you're smashing it. I'm like, great, you're smashing it. But let's look at the really minutiae details of what we can improve on, because it's those minor details that really do add up. And that's what I love looking at. Just, that's me.
Yeah.
Lloyd?
Yeah, I would definitely say that you have an eye for detail, Eamon. So, yeah, fair play to you. I was going to say something, but whenever you were talking about that, it just reminded me of like previous life. Previously, I worked for a marketing company, and I've been there for 2 or 3 years. And there was a guy, he was on the phone to a customer, he was really struggling to do something on the system. Long story cut short, went across, helped him, and became quite friendly. We actually started a cleaning business, just literally me going out to try and help someone do their job. And there's been, I would say, nearly a dozen times now where if you reach out to someone and you kind of never really know where that ends up. Now, that cleaning business, we ran it for about a year. Stuart's still running that business in Belfast. I'm now doing this, but it's just all those kind of contacts and the networking I feel is very important. And certainly working with you, Luke, and working with Eamon, you do learn a lot from, well, as the saying goes, you don't know what you don't know. So yeah, I just encourage anyone to reach out, and there's no such thing as a stupid question, really.
Fun fact off the back of that, Lloyd. I went up today to a local recycling centre to get rid of bales of crushed cardboard. And the manager of the place had such an attitude. He didn't want me there at all. Just wasn't in their sort of market and wasn't what I was after. An hour later, I was still sitting chatting to him, and he was sitting telling me that he regularly gets lorry loads of brand new cardboard boxes in. And he goes, sure, give me a number, and next time you need cardboard box, we get a lorry load in, we'll just give them to you. I'm like, thank you. So he's like, yeah, we get it regularly. We're just lorry loads of brand new cardboard boxes. If they're sitting in a warehouse and they need rid of them, they'll just crush them, just sell them. So, as you said, just making the connections, talking to people. And like, as we're getting into the van, he had a bit of an attitude. As we're getting into the van, leaving. And then I sat and chatted to him for a bit. And he ended up telling me that he started recycling business 15 years ago, doing mobile phones, and then ended up selling it to O2 for 28 million. Wow. And to meet him, to look at him, you think he wouldn't have £2, and he sold a business for 28 million recycling, and now he's still recycling plastic. So, as you say, you never know who to be talking to.
Yeah, I would say, like, in Ireland, there's obviously the gift of the gab, and it does go a long way when you're, trying to, pull a business up by its shoelaces. It does go a long way. Wow, yeah, I'm gonna have to top you up for some cardboard boxes later on.
You do.
I think the one thing I'd say as well is it's not even just about the sort of business connections, but just from a social aspect. I mean, right now I think everyone's experiencing it from sort of working from home, but I mean, with an Amazon business, this has kind of been the thing for me for the past, I don't know, since I sort of dropped out of uni. I mean, I quite like being sort of tucked away and just getting on with my work, but at the same time, having those people that you can sort of speak to on a day-to-day basis, not just work related, and just talking in general now, where you have kind of these meetups or even just online where you can have a quick chat, and it might be some business stuff, but just actually having that someone you can speak to. I think the importance of connections socially, because you're not in an office space with other people necessarily. And so having those people who you can have a chat with about Amazon is sort of great. And I don't know, for me, I'm not necessarily a big small talk person, so I can talk business, talk sport or whatever, but yeah, it's more enjoyable. So I think from that kind of thing, it's amazing. I mean, as I said, Eamon, when I was starting out, helped me, did some posts in a group. Look back on the questions, they're sort of interesting now, but I think it's one of those where you kind of do your research and get started and ask the questions as you go along, and the people are willing to help. And as I said in that post on 21st of February, leverage the experience of other people, whatever form that takes. Don't go through unnecessary things there, and you're going to have that mutual benefit there as well. Cool.
I agree.
All right. Well, this first question that I'm seeing is quite a broad one, and I'm not going to touch it because I don't do any wholesale. But the first thing, right product to sell. I mean, that's super broad. So I'm kind of going to put that to one side and say, if you're asking the right product to sell, it's just too broad. I think a question that's something you could spend hours and hours and hours on. So I'm going to put that to one side and kind of say Melanie there is almost like, well, probably something to YouTube to start Google, look at some keeper research. I'm assuming you're talking about wholesale OA type stuff. So really doing some keeper research there. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube you can get your hands stuck into. The second part, how to set up a wholesale account. I mean, that's also pretty broad, but look, I'm going to go to, I think what I want to do here is go to Lloyd and Eamon and to give you 30 seconds each to summarize in 30 seconds your best tips for setting up a wholesale account. So well, 30 seconds.
You might have your first fight already, because I think the way Eamon and I would approach wholesalers would be quite different. My kind of approach
I do it the right way.
All right, man. So yeah, my kind of approach is I'm approaching you as approaching a business as a business. So I have a company website. I have my domain name set up, logo, all the rest of it. I have a little bit of a spiel at the start, and yeah, it helps open some doors that perhaps Eamon couldn't or might get turned away. But there is no real secret sauce with wholesalers. I think if you just lift the phone, that's the biggest thing. You'll only get so far sending generic emails. You'll only get so far kind of, when the trade shows you need to speak to people and just pick up the phone. Is that 30 seconds? Is that
3 minutes?
Probably. No, I think that's about 30 seconds. You're done well. And
it begrudges me. It goes against my nature to ever to agree with Mr. Jones. But yeah, there is a lot of valid arguments for using a website, and I've always sort of pushed against that notion. And I would completely echo as well, get on the phone and start dialing. It's all about relationships. I've spent an hour on the phone to wholesale reps, looked at the stuff they're selling and realized this isn't for me. And then they were like, no bother, here's one or two other phone numbers. Tell them I sent you. They'd actually be a good shout for you. And it's about asking the question, do you have any other lines? Do you know any other contacts? Here's what I'm doing. And I don't lie, like it has stung me in the foot before where I probably could have just avoided the question, do you sell on Amazon? But my attitude is, with social media and the internet, it's not too hard to look up a VAT number, look up a company house number and say that they sell on Amazon. So if you're starting a relationship on a lie, it's not going to go too well. So I go in full transparency, say, here's my profile, here's what I do. I'm not going to mess you about. I'm not going to order one or two of an item. I'll order it by the pallet layer. Let's talk. And they have targets to hit too. Yes, if there's certain brands and they don't want to be doing that, or if they're a grocery shop that's getting hit every day with contacts, they're not going to be overly keen, but they have sales targets to hit. And if you're sitting saying, I'll take 2 pallets of that, they're going to talk. And it's being able to do that and being able to have the nerve to do that. And my attitude is, if you can sell 10 of an item, you can sell 20. If you can sell 20, why not buy 100? So that's just sort of the way I approach it. But yeah, you got to be making the connections. They're not going to phone you up and start talking to you. And the ones that do contact you aren't the ones you want to talk to.
No. I mean, we opened an account about a month ago. I had two VAs sourcing it for 3 or 4 days each.
Mm-hmm.
We put in an order for 300 quid because it was done. It wasn't worth buying anything else. It was done. So there's 3. Well, what's that? Say 6 man days. Could have easily spent somewhere else, making the business more money. So, but I mean, I would actually say that wholesalers and distributors and things are more open to talking to people who sell online because of the last year.
I had a wholesaler that I spoke to 2 years ago. Met them at the NEC. It was for Baylis and Harding. I went over there in February. I did well at the gift sets that I cleared out of Tesco's back in January sales. It sold well, and I was like, great, I want to go wholesale. They were like, right, you're in Northern Ireland. You have to be dealing with our reps over there. Phoned them up. Rep came out to the house, and I never really got much out of them because I wasn't really in a position to be putting in the big orders. Phoned them up the other day, and Rep phoned me straight back, and he goes, lad, are you still online? I'm like, yeah. And I goes, I'm looking this one line that I know you sell. And he goes, it's on fire at the minute. We've got a ball of it. If you're selling that online, you're going to make a mint. I'll send you through all the best items that you should be selling. I'm like, great. They can deliver. And he's telling me what's selling well on Amazon, and he's got stock of it. And I'm like, I must take this lad out for a coffee. Like, you know, he just did my job for me. And I've got one other wholesaler that once every 2 weeks will send me a list of popular items that they sell that are available on Amazon, and you're like, well, there's a VA getting sacked tonight because they don't need them. They're 2 isolated instances, but they know what you're doing, and it's in their interest to push stuff onto you. So, and I don't mess them about. I don't start fighting over 2p. I don't be like, nah, that other place is £2 cheaper a case this week. Because swings and roundabouts, it works out. You work with them. Like, I phoned one wholesaler, and I was trying to bait down the price of one item by 5p, and he was like, I can't do it. And then another item that everybody's buying wholesale or away out of boots, he knocked a £5 a case off them, and I could just blow everybody else out of the water. And for the last 4 months I have been doing, and now there's very few other OA sellers doing it because I've crippled them. Because I could. Because what was £10 on boots, I'm getting for $6.30 wholesale. And it's only because I was asking about another item. I built up the relationship, and he's like, you're buying big whack out, I can do you a better price. So it's all about the relationships for me in wholesale, not as much the items.
Good stuff. I think the one, look, I don't do any wholesale, but I think there's obviously overlaps with wholesale and OA. I think you guys hit the nail on the head. You kind of got to actually get started and go in. It's not just about time sat in front of a computer or time on you've got to actually do something that's going to get you in the right direction. I kind of said this, I was speaking to someone with online arbitrage, and they were a client of mine. They were kind of saying, well, they need to do more sourcing. They want to hit 2K net profit a month. And I was saying, well, how are you going to break that down? So he said, oh yeah, well, maybe I can sit and do 2 hours of sourcing a day, 3 days a week. I was like, okay, that's fine, but why don't you actually work out, like, okay, what's the revenue you need to hit based on your margin to do 2K net profit? And then from there, what do you actually need to spend on stock based on your sort of purchase to sales ratio to hit that revenue, to hit the profit? And then from there, you can actually set yourself that goal of, okay, I've got to spend X amount to hit that profit target, and this is my reason why. And so I think that's the way I would almost kind of look at it. It's for OA, and it's probably similar for wholesale in terms of, okay, can I spend this much this week? And then by doing that, you kind of not just said, oh, I'm just going to call 100 people or whatever, because it doesn't mean, okay, yes, picking up the phone is a good start, but it's about actually what is going to generate the money at the end of the day, or the results at the end of the day. About doing those activities, you can go through the motions in anything, but in the day, it's your business. You're not working a 9 to 5 where you're going to get paid sort of regardless. Like, you can sit in front of the computer for 8 hours on Facebook, pretending you're doing work and give yourself a pat on the back, but realistically, nothing's going to get done. So that's the way I kind of look at it. Maybe some people won't agree, but I think, yeah, if you can set yourself, especially like purchasing targets, I think are really, really good, because if you're buying the right things, they're going to sort of sell, and that's going to translate into profit. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but I think just to add there, I mean, yeah, getting on the phone, dialing is huge. And I remember I went to Spring Fair with Mr. McCaffrey for a day, and I was kind of just wandering around like a lost sheep, to be honest. Like, I didn't really have any real goals there. I didn't really have much intention of doing wholesale, which I think for me is just kind of going there and the experience. But yeah, if you're going to go to something like that, or you're going to sort of look at wholesale, start putting in the effort. So obviously there's a lot more that can be said there, but I think, yeah, that's really useful stuff from you guys there. So I appreciate that. Hopefully it's been useful.
I have to agree.
Cool.
Effort and enthusiasm doesn't always transpire into success. Like, Lloyd could have spent another 2 weeks scanning that list going, we're putting the effort in, but it's about being able to make the intelligent decisions and leveraging other people's knowledge and just being like, well, we're not throwing good money after bad. And it's recognizing that other people might know more and be able to assist you in that way.
Yeah, it does take a lot of time, though.
Yeah.
It genuinely does.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. So the next question was from John, who's actually just across the River Mersey from me in Liverpool. He says, I'm going to sound really stupid, but knowing what is classed as a large item before adding it to a shipment, so the shipment doesn't get split. I mean, most deal analysis tools, I'm sure all of them now will alert you if an item is oversized or not. If you want to check, you can look at the, if you just search in Seller Central for like oversized, it will tell you what makes an oversized item. I mean, I used to have it on my whiteboard back when deal analysis tools didn't have this. It was in my university room. I remember I had oversized if, and it was like, I think if one dimension was over a certain size or whatever, or like the weight was over a certain amount. Lloyd or Eamon might know that off the top of my head, but honestly, the easiest way is just have a deal analysis tool that tells you that. And if your item isn't already FBA, just search in Seller Central for oversize and just find that information there. Yeah, and that's the easiest way to know before adding it to a shipment for me. I don't know if you guys got any way that you do it differently.
Well, in the length of time it took you to say that, I just Googled it. And for the simple one, because I don't know the actual oversize, it comes up for, as you say, within SAS, what the oversize is, but that's America because it's coming up in inches, but 1.5 feet by 1 foot by 8 inches is what is the maximum capacity of it. So,
well, considering we're not in America, thanks for that useless information, smartass.
Sorry, I'm of an age where I was actually taught foot and inches and centimeters and the conversion of them. So you young whippersnappers wouldn't know that.
The same person also taught you your fashion sense as well. Lovely colour there. Beautiful.
Thank you. It is Tommy Hilfiger's last season, but still. I mean, being in lockdown, there hasn't been many clothing shops opened.
Wouldn't make much difference, even.
I'm too cheap to spend money on clothes. I don't do clothes shopping, all right? Once every 3 years when they're threadbare, I go in and buy whatever Oxfam has an offer.
No, I don't.
Getting back to that, I remember starting off and you buy some odds and ends and they get split up and it's a real pain in the backside.
Yeah.
There is probably some sort of mechanic that the more you send in, the less likely it's to be split up. I think I wouldn't want to, maybe 3, I don't know. There must be some sort of mechanic, but I haven't had a split order unless it's hazmat. That would be the only thing.
Small and light.
Yeah.
I would split things a lot more often for small and light than oversized. And you sort of know it's oversized because if it's a board game or something and it's sort of over 50 centimeters for those, you just sort of look at it and you go, that's going to be big. And you just don't close the box before you're closing it up and then it's split. I find there's very few items I'd be lifting away that would be oversized. And again, even with wholesale, just for what I'm targeting.
You know, it's funny. So, I once bought a door from Argos, and it was that big. I couldn't even sell it FBA, so I had to MF this item. That it wasn't fun. Literally a door.
Do you know when they said you weren't allowed to go more than 3 miles from your front door? That's not what they meant.
Just carry your door around with you.
Front door, back door, patio door. I can honestly say
we don't need doors in this house. Times are hard, and you gotta sell the doors.
I've never sold a door yet.
Yeah, I don't recommend it, to be honest. It wasn't fun, especially trying to package that thing. Pretty much just bubble wrap the whole thing and then wrapped it in like the craft paper and stuck a label on it there. It was good fun. But anyway, you live and you learn. It's one of those, whenever I used to prep, you'd get, you'd buy an item and it'll be like, this is going to be a fucking pain to prep. And you still go and buy it anyway. And you'll come to prep and it's like, why have I done this to myself? But, or maybe that was just me, but yeah. Anyway. Cool. I did have something else that I was going to say there, but I can't remember. So anyway, we'll move on. Yeah. Kay Adams asked, well, she mentioned, so I said, what is the biggest thing you're struggling with? And her reply was consistency. And she knows it's key to the kingdom, so maybe add self-sabotage in there too. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, so many people, I think, go on extremes. And I guess I'm kind of guilty on this, although it's more of a conscious thing. I think a lot of the extremes are unconscious. And what I mean by this, I talk about that at the start of the stream briefly, and I could talk about this for hours, something I'm passionate about. But just balance in different areas of life. So for me, you have like business / career, you have your sort of finance, which is closely linked, then you have your sort of social, I have your sort of romantic / intimate area, then you have sort of physical well-being, so exercising, and then also sort of eating well, then sort of mental well-being, different components there. All these different areas of life for me, maybe excitement in there as well, maybe some spirituality, all these different elements. I think it's about finding balances, and there's lots of swings. So for me, I just had a period in Mexico where I was like with the girl, pretty much living with her and pretty much traveling the whole time, not really doing much work, not really probably in the worst shape of my life at the moment, sort of physically, and probably under the skin as well, not really doing any exercise or eating very well. So it's this big swing. And for me, I think it's about trying to have these swings on like a daily basis. So for me, it's about doing just like 10 minutes of meditation. It's about doing my journaling. It's about doing having my vitamins in the morning. It's about just doing 10-15 minutes of doing these shoulder exercises. My shoulder's bad, and like doing a little bit of cardio. It's about just taking at the very least some stuff off of my business, about at least like I'm with my family at the moment, but sort of send them a message. So it's that balance. And I think for me, the point I'm trying to make is people go super hard at something for maybe a few days or a period of time, and then they kind of go the other way completely, and it just completely drops off. And I think really it's just about having that consistency in the long run. It's not about setting your goals at the start of the year and trying to do everything in the space of a week or two. It's about doing that consistently. And I set my year goals at the start of the year, and I'm still checking them. And okay, I haven't done it as frequently now, but Eamon's my accountability partner there, and we haven't actually been, well, I haven't been as sort of rigorous as I need to be, but I'm still keeping on top of these things. I mean, I've got a goal, for example, in cricket that I want to score 100 for my first team this year. And even though I'm having to isolate at home at the moment, I've been in Mexico where there's no cricket. I'm still just being sort of the bike we have, the electric bike we have upstairs. I don't know what it's called, but just trying to do a bit of cardio, because if you're batting for a long time, that's super important. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is with consistency, I think it's about not trying to load your plate too much. And then linked to that, I think planning is massive, and having goals. So you talked about the sort of sourcing goals, but also your reason why. So having that reason why, having your goals, continuously linking back to that, and then breaking down those plans. So if you have like a task, as I sort of talked about, or a goal, breaking that down as much as you can. So I mentioned there, having that 2K net profit per month goal. Don't just say, I want to do 2K net profit per month. Break it down. How much revenue do you need to do? How much purchasing do you need to do? How much split is that from replenishment to your VA to your manual sourcing, and breaking that down as much as you can. Then what things do you need to do to actually achieve that? Then what does your repricing look like? What do all these things look like? And then actually go, not trying to do all that in a week, setting yourself sort of reasonable time frame, but then actually keep checking back in on that and setting yourself reminders. So look, for me, it's difficult to answer this, Kay, because I'm trying to sort of talk about a hell of a lot in not much time, because this is the thing basically in the Massive Impact Mastermind, which I set up, which I pretty much spend most of my time covering over the course of a few hours. So hopefully that helps. I don't know if you guys have thoughts there, just to kind of recap. Kaysa said that she struggles with consistency and self-sabotage.
I would link it back to when I was teaching. So you'd have like the lesson objective, what it was they wanted to achieve by the end of the lesson. And then it was, well, how are you going to measure if you've achieved that? And you'd have smaller action points about what needed to be achieved to be able to argue you've achieved your actual goal. And then actually what was the tasks going to be to achieve that? So if you want to do 2,000 a month, right? 2,000 a month might be 200 units. If you're only shipping in 100 units in the month, you're never going to get your goal. So it's being able to measure it and look at it in real-time ways. And I use a software called Trello. It's literally just an online planner where you can put up to-do lists and you can collaborate with your VAs and stuff like that. There's paid versions. I use the free one because I've yet to see any features I don't have on it. And it's fantastic. You can just write to-do lists and you can back a week later, and if you see something still pending, you're like, I need to get on that. And then you just add it into your calendar to get on it. Consistency doesn't mean that you have to be going flat out 100% performance every day. It just means that your focuses are day on day or week on week, that you're working towards a collective goal. So it doesn't mean that you have to be doing 12-hour days, 6 days a week for the entire year. That is not what consistency is. It's about being focused on the same goal. So you're not just, this week I want to try private label, next week I'm going to try drop shipping, next week I'm going to just take on another VA and outsource everything. It's about making a plan and sticking to it. That is the definition of consistency. And I think some people, they lose their focus and they try other things and then nothing works because they never actually committed to one avenue of action.
Yeah, I think it sort of reminds me there. It's like you see I'm reading Steve Bartlett's book at the moment. He talks about this in lots of different areas, but people portray this idea like you see this hustle porn where it's like a lot of it's work non-stop, kind of get up every day at a certain time and do this and do that. Whereas for me, it's the balance. And I think the one example I have of this and where I was super happy with my performance was in Gran Canaria, where I pretty much 98% of the days, weekdays, I was asleep between sort of 10 and 11 and awake between 6 and 7 a.m. Weekends, sleep between 11 and 12 and awake between sort of 7 and 8. Pretty much, I'd say 95 to 98% of the time there. And for me, I guess the point I'm making is I'm not trying to be like super rigid in exactly when I'm waking up, but also if I was half an hour later or whatever, I wouldn't be super annoyed at myself. But I'm not trying to get up at 5 a.m. every day, get to sleep at sort of midnight and then deprive myself of sleep, or I'm not trying to have super healthy diet every day. I mean, like when I was there, sort of going to the gym and all these kind of things. But I think, yeah, it's not trying to be perfect all the time and then get annoyed at yourself when you're not. I think it's doing what you set out to do is the biggest thing for fulfillment. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's like when you set yourself something to do and then you don't do it and you feel that feeling of procrastination, you feel sort of annoyed at yourself for not doing it. I think that's the most frustrating feeling. So for me, it's like get done what you set out to do and then don't feel guilty when you're not working. You don't need to work all the time. And that's something I'm working on there. But yeah, I think you put that really well there, Raymond.
My biggest issue is actually self-sabotage. By when I get 80% towards achieving a goal, I move the goalposts. And then I'm sort of stealing happiness from myself because I'm like, I wanted to do 1,000 a day in turnover. And then you're like, I want to be doing 3,000 a day and I want to be doing 5. And you're like, but look where you were 6 months ago. And you're constantly moving your target. But I don't know if that's greed or just I'm always very hard on myself and what I want to achieve. But sometimes, personally, for me, it's you have to stop and look at what you've achieved.
Yeah, I would. No, I would definitely suffer from that. And yeah, I mean, I don't really particularly share any successes that I've had. I don't think anything that I've done hasn't been done, before. What are you giggling at?
Well, I'm sure when you get some success, you will share it.
Yeah, well, that's true, mate. That's true. So mean.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you I sometimes feel if you do, it just leads to complacency, which clearly doesn't. It's just a moment in time. But yeah, I mean, just I was chatting with my brother about this. I mean, yeah, everyone talks about working hard, but really, it's much more important to be consistent. It's the same as going to the gym. You could smash the gym for 2 weeks and not go again for 3 months, and you're not really much further on. So, if you did half an hour every day consistently, you'd be much, much further on than smashing it for 2 weeks. So, yeah.
For sure. And I think Eamon, you made a really good point there. It's and this is something I've heard from Dan Kennedy and sort of Steve Bartlett. They talk about this idea of sort of reflection, and you have what you said there. You have this horizon that always continues to increase and increase, and you have this like mission at the end of the thing. It's like Dan Kennedy refers to as the horizon, your like mission, your purpose, your end goal, because you never really achieve it, but it keeps pushing you forward. But if you keep comparing yourself to that, you're never going to be happy. Because like for me, for example, if I look back to when I started, it's absolutely crazy. And I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people. But even just on a daily level, at the end of the day, I actually have a type form. So like a form I have a reminder on my phone, 8 p.m. every day, it pops up. And at the end of that form, it's what are your 3 wins for the day? And it's just me reflecting back on what are the 3 things that I've achieved today. And it's that sense of fulfillment. So it's not like, oh, pushing to this goal, pushing this goal, how far away from it. Because there's always going to be new goals. There's always going to be keep increasing, as you said. Like for me, it's insane. Like I think you had a 3K day or something, and it's like, I don't know about you, but for me, I've similar things, and it's like just insane compared to where I was at the start. So yeah, that backward reflection and so that gratitude is huge, I think, and it's something that I've sort of been reading about from Dan Kennedy and Steve Bartlett there, and I recommend both of those people to anyone who is interested.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hopefully that helps, Kay, if you are watching. If not, I have tagged everyone there who posted questions in the live, so either see the live or a replay. Maybe a fairly quick one here. Mocash said his struggle is receiving parcels when at work. I mean, there's a few things here. I sort of had this when I first started, and I was living at a uni house. I actually got some of them delivered to my work, a few, but then if you get parcels delivered and you're not there, I mean, there's a few different options. I had a neighbor who was actually pretty helpful, but they can start to get fed up. So I think it depends on the volume that you're doing. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys might have like an arrangement with the couriers where they leave items. I'm sure there's lots of different options there. So yeah, you guys are probably more suited to answer that than I have, because I haven't really had this issue, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to lean on your network a little bit there, and just, friends, family members. If you are, getting picked up from home, try and get to know your UPS driver. Even if it's 2 or 3 different drivers, it's really worth speaking to them. Obvious kind of option is a prep center. And yeah, so I would use a prep center, and I have a small unit. So like, yeah, it's going to be different everywhere, but the unit that I use, the arrangement that I've got like a foyer bit that's always open, so I can always have things delivered and received. The guy just opens the door and slings it in, and then I'll come in the evening or the next day, tidy it up, or whatever. So yeah, you kind of have to be a little bit creative, but I'd say that lean on your network, your friends and family. There should be someone who, especially fingers crossed, it's going to be not so much of a lockdown, but yeah, there should be plenty of people who can kind of take parcels and things.
I mean, as well, you could always look at a prep center, Mo. If you really don't have options, prep centers are going to be there. Or like, I don't know, there's some storage things that you can get, storage units, and they might receive deliveries for you. I think Fastback FBA actually, or someone had like a big yellow thing that they received. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, there's plenty of different options. You just got to be creative, I think, and look if you're in watching this and maybe you got any thoughts on what you do, feel free to share, guys. That's awesome. I can see there's still quite a lot of people watching, which is good to see.
I'm spoilt with that one. My parents' home house is out in the country, big front porch that's closed from the elements, and you could leave stuff sitting there 2 or 3 days, nobody would touch it. So that's never been an issue for me. But again, it's depending on your personal circumstances, leaving it with the neighbour, leaving it at the corner shop, stuff like that. But if you're getting to the point where you're getting consistent daily deliveries and you can't collect them, either go full time or go prep center or change your methods. There's no right or wrong answer to it, really. Yeah.
Cool. Lots of ideas for you there, Mo. Hopefully that has helped. A couple of follow-ups from the consistency one. Rasheen said that, well, first Emma says good words there, Eamon, on consistency.
Thank you, Emma.
Rasheen says also one of the biggest problems is consistency. I think it is for most people. Everyone goes through different periods. I think it's consistency. You might have like on a weekly basis. You might have on a monthly basis. Could be on a yearly. Yeah, you keep powering through. I think consistency is massive. If you stick with something for long enough, I think you're going to go well. I think there's a quote. It's like people overestimate what they can achieve in a week and underestimate what they can achieve in a year. Massively. So, yeah. Powell said that it's really hard to be consistent when you have two small kids in house. You can plan, use planners, reminders, but when your kid wants something, it's like poof, and you're back to square one. Yeah, I think it's tough. Like at the end of the day, though, and this might, I hope it doesn't come across the wrong way, and I'm probably going to experience this pretty soon because I was saying to Lloyd before this call, and I'm actually just checking my phone there because I'm in the process of getting a puppy at the moment. And I'm sure that's going to have a massive impact. So, yeah, I might come back to regret saying this, but I think for me, it's like everyone's got their circumstances. I'm not going to be naive. I'm very lucky where I am at the moment that I don't have any kids. I don't have any puppies. I don't have any illness. I'm in good health and everything. I'm really fortunate where I am to do what I am. But I think what I would say is that, look, you've got the circumstances you have. And okay, look, I'm not saying you're complaining at all, pal, but I think a lot of people do kind of complain about circumstances and they'll say they've got this, that, and the other. But realistically, you've just got to do the best with what you've got. And okay, you've got the kids there, which I'm sure you're super grateful for having your kids. But at the same time, you just got to be able to work around them. And I guess what I'm trying to say, and I think Lloyd, you mentioned this podcast. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's basically just all about positivity. And I think it's easy to look at sort of the negative aspects, and you can talk about I don't know, I can't remember what his name is, but you talk about
Christian
Anguar, I think, or something like that. I'll check. But you can look at.
I can't remember, but yeah, sure.
I'll have a look now.
We see just on that, Luke. I mean, there was another podcast I listened to last week, and like him, it's a bit of an Eamon McCaffrey character. You know, he's Marmite. You either love him or hate him. But it was Ant Middleton, and he did a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about all the stuff that he'd said and all this type of thing. And he was talking about climbing a mountain. And whenever you climb a mountain, the mountain isn't against you, it's for you, because if the mountain isn't there, there's nothing to actually achieve. So completely different, raising kids is a much more abstract concept than a mountain. But if you without those challenges, I would kind of look at that as a challenge to make the most of your time. So rather than it being a problem, you could look at it as a challenge to make more of your time, and make the time that you've got available much more productive. Perhaps, I don't know, like hiring a VA or speaking to someone who's already where you'd like to be and kind of really trying to make the most of the time that you've got. You could, try and look at it like that, if that makes sense.
Totally.
The upside is give it a couple of years and you've got free prep.
There you
Build
go.
that into your business model.
There you go. Just while I've got it here, before I forget, that podcast is The Diary of a CEO. It's episode 72 with Christian Angermay. I don't know how you pronounce the name, but there you go. And the idea is just the positive. And I think like we have in iGen Entrepreneur, as a business, we have core values. And one of the core values is a solutions mindset. So solutions, not problems. So there's lots of different things people have to deal with. I mean, your computer can break, your Wi-Fi can drop off. All these different things can happen that are sort of unexpected. And look, if you've got 2 kids, there's obviously going to be unexpected things that happen. I think my point is it's just about, it's easy said than done, but trying to stay positive. And as Lloyd said, make the most of your time and trying to just work around what happens. And yeah, trying to remain positive is something I'm really working on. Not complaining, because I complain about everything. I was in a place called Xcaret in Playa del Carmen in Mexico near Cancun. And I found myself complaining that the weather was about 25, 26 degrees. And when we're in Chichen Itza, it was about 32 degrees. And I was baking in the sun. And now I'm in the underground river, sort of a bit chilly. And I was hoping the days would have been swapped around and we'd gone on Monday. And I was just like, why am I complaining about this? There's so many positives. An absolutely beautiful place. I had great company. I was in an amazing place. So many positives. And I managed to find the one negative. And I just look at it. It was interesting to me. So yeah, maybe I've not explained this that well, but for me, it's just about trying to find the positives there. Look, I've got to jump in a couple of minutes because, and this won't be every week, but I've got a group coaching call that I'm hosting at 8 p.m. So I've got to jump and I've got to leave the 2 Northern Irish men to it to host. And hopefully, I'm hoping if I leave, that might be a problem actually.
If you make someone else host.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try there. Otherwise, we'll figure a solution. But yeah, look, there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't see it now. So anyway, yeah, look, I'm going to try and jump off because I'll pass on to these 2 guys and I'll figure out a way to either just leave this on in the background and I'll just hide myself or something else. So I'm going to do that first and then, but thanks for everyone. I wasn't sure how much interest we'd get for this. We only sort of mentioned it pretty late. But every week we're going to be live here in this group at 7 p.m. For those who've just tuned in late, we're going to have different guests on sort of each week, varying from online arbitrage sellers to people who sort of self-development, varying different guests from varying different businesses, talking about different things. Sometimes I might be hosting it, sometimes might be Lloyd, sometimes might be Eamon. So appreciate you all for showing up. If you do have any questions, please do drop them in the chat. If we don't get around to them all this week, then we'll cover them in weeks to come. So thank you, everyone. And I will see you all next week.
See you, mate.
So just us then?
Just us.
Great. We can be very nice to each other.
You first.
It would, yeah. So how many sales you had today? 3?
2.
That's all right. I'll give you a bit of help later. Any more questions in the
it's good to go down the comments.
Yeah.
I can see a few people's names, but most of them are Facebook users, so
the viewer blocked then.
Must be. My reputation precedes me. I started reading the comment below. It's really hard to be consistent. You've got 2 small kids in the house, and it said, "Put a store cupboard in the garden with an open padlock." I was like, "Is that to put your kids in?" No, but I read the rest of it.
I see Julia's put in one there that hasn't really been addressed. Is it possible to send chocolate APA in summer months? And I think that's always a very ambiguous one, because you hear all these talk in the forums where no, definitely can't after April or May, you can't do it. And it seems to be a lot more of American information. Yeah. I have had I've seen in a lot of different Easter eggs over the last week, obviously, but there's been a lot of negative feedback on my egg arrived melted. But I think that was more to do with the hottest March on record for God knows how many years. Personally, I bang chocolate in all year round. I've yet to have an issue with it. What about yourself?
It's more damage than anything else. I've never. I mean, I'll probably count the amount of times I've had that issue in one hand. In 3 or 4 years. No,
Yeah, I've had
it's more. Yeah, it's more the States than anything else because obviously, yeah, yeah. There's some states. Whenever I was speaking that chat, it's basically it was basically like hazmat. It's like a different kind of function for it, but no, I've never had an issue with it. If you send it from my unit, it's still frozen by the time it gets to the customer, so it's that cold even during the summer.
Yeah. No, I send it in all year round, depending on what it is. If it's sometimes Amazon will try and play a little bit of football with it before it gets to the customer and it arrives broken, but for the most part, Julie, bang it in. Any issues, deal with them, but there really isn't. Steve Taggart has mentioned there about cash flow. Generically speaking, without getting into anybody's personal details, it's quite hard to give an overview on that one, but I know for myself, I know you do it too, you use credit cards, specifically Capital on Tap, to add more freedom within the cash flow. And if it's getting to the point where you're using the maximum amount of your money each month and sales are growing, well, then it's time to look at other options for getting more funding available into your business, whether that be a loan, credit cards, angel investor, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Let's be honest, are you really in a position to advise on this, Eamon? After telling me how much you had in your account to withdraw?
Yes, I am. It's all right. And this is a little bit of a low-key flex. One of my wholesalers had changed bank details and I hadn't updated on my pays. So a rather sizable sum bounced back into my account yesterday. So I went to take your advice of taking a disbursement and noticed that I was sitting with quite a healthy bank balance because the money that I thought I had spent had actually bounced back. So that's who I needed it for. So no, we're sweet. So
yeah, cash flow. Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, just as a general point of view, any sort of spending that you're doing, and see, this is kind of where wholesale gets trickier because
time periods extended.
Well, no, I mean, I would say that as a general rule, if you're buying things on the internet, use a credit card for protection. I've had credit card fraud. I was fine with the actual. I wasn't fine with the fraud, but I was fully confident I'd get the money back because it's all on credit card. With credit cards, you've got that layer of protection, and you've also got that 56 days. So leverage credit cards. Not financial advice, anything silly like that, but don't. If you're running Amazon as a business, have a separate bank account for your Amazon business, so you know that money in there is for the business rather than mixing it with your personal. Then if you only put on a credit card what's in your bank account, you can't really go wrong. Famous last words, but yeah, if you manage it like that and then you get used to using credit cards and it's not such a big deal.
Well, 2 or else 3 Christmases ago, coming up to Q4, I had started to go deep. I had maxed $8,000 on a Halifax credit card and I got suspended. And the only thing that helped me sleep well at night was knowing that I had about 8.5 in the business account at the time, and that even with all expenses covered, I still had some money to play with, and that I wasn't going to be on the hook for it myself. And while it was frustrating as anything to be suspended in Q4, it worked out. I wasn't sitting with personal debt to my name because I wasn't that aggressive. And even now, I put a heck of a lot more through a credit card, but the money's always sitting there in the bank financed it. And it's that sort of cautious growth. And anytime we've went looking at additional financing, it's been in the form of a loan where it's an agreed repayment strategy. So, but yeah, there is funding out there, but I don't think that's, Steve, what you're talking about. It's just more about leveraging your credit cards, but in a cautious and safe manner with a level of risk that you're comfortable with. And nobody can really advise what you're going to be comfortable with. That's a personal choice.
And the other way to do it is
mortgage.
Thomas Parkinson's done a very good video on how he manages it, and I was kind of doing it, but basically on a wall chart. If you do look at Thomas Parkinson, he's a video on cash flow is very, very useful. It's basically be organized. So if you disperse once a week, you'll know what money you're expecting by the Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, if you're organized like that, it's very helpful. Makes it a lot clearer. Makes it kind of takes the guesswork out of it.
Sounds good. I usually just keep going till I'm out of money. Not as organized as young Mr. Parkinson.
I'm a single one, 2 boys. Where there's a will, there's a way. Get them living.
Lisa, totally agree. Yeah, it works. This time last year, I was selling a fortune of Easter eggs merchant fulfilled, and I had my nephew, who is currently now 4, so he's about 3.5 at that stage, packing the boxes into the back of a van, and he was very good attention to detail on it. So it does work. Tiny humans love labeling. Rachel, I agree.
Who said wreck the place now? I'm not sure what that's.
Mark O'Donnell. I was just about to come to that one. Mark, what are you at these days? I've seen you commenting on something else earlier, and I haven't seen your name in months, and that's all over the place today. Hope Amazon's going well for you. Maybe get him to jump on live some week and see what he's up to. Be interesting.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, I used his affiliate link to buy a lot of crypto about 2 years ago, and didn't see much of it back ever again.
Sure, no bother to you, Money McCaffrey.
It was only pocket money I had down side of sofa like.
Told you get a VPN. Not sure what that's in reference to.
Not too sure.
There's a question for you, Eamon. How long before you went down the VA or virtual assistant route?
Ooh, a couple of months. I was only in it a couple of months, and I hired my first VA, and they lasted about 2 or 3 weeks because
really?
I hadn't a clue. My first VA, his name was Prince. And he hadn't a clue how to source. I hadn't a clue what I wanted him doing. Mm-hmm. I was doing a lot of sort of RA at the time, and like I was sending him photographs of job lot stuff on Gumtree and asking him to analyze it, see if there's any money in it with no software. And I was letting him fly blind, and he had the clue what he was doing, and I didn't even know that he didn't know that. And it was just blind leaving the blinds, and I called it a day after about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I'd say it was a further sort of 18 months before I went back in again, and I took a VA from Luke. Back at the time, Luke decided he wanted to hire a VA and ended up hiring 8 and panicked and goes, well, I've no use for 8. So I took one of those, and it was a lot more better and structured the second time round, and then from that I've expanded out. If you're going to take on a VA, it is not enough just to take on a VA and hope that things just turnover increases. You have to have goals in place. You have to know what you want them to achieve. You have to lead from the front. It's not enough to say to a VA, even with the ones you get from Thomas Parkinson, and this is by no means a criticism on the service. I have had 3 from Thomas. They're brilliant. But when you think about it, the day a 17-year-old passes their driving test, it is a certificate to say they know the bare minimum to manoeuvre a car. It does not by any means make them a Formula 1 race driver. And it's the same with the VA. They've had 2 weeks training. Yes, they know the basics of how to do it. They still need coaching, mentoring, and support down the line for 6 months or a year.
No one's an expert in their first day of work.
No. No, and I think that's unfair for VAs or team members who expect that. I think it's unrealistic to have the expectation of, well, I paid £500. Why am I not instantly seeing results? I think that's very unfair. You have to go in with the realization of you will still need to support and scaffold them in their learning and their development. And the more time you put into the feedback that you give to those people, the more it will reflect in the leads and the initiative that they have and how they perform for you. It's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about yourself? How long is it for you to get a VA?
Far too long. It's interesting because there's an American wholesale Amazon seller called Chris McCall. I think Blake's mentioned him. His philosophy was basically, as soon as you make $300 profit, use that profit and hire a VA, and just go for it. And
well, that's all right if you've got capital.
Well, yeah, and hindsight's 2020. I mean,
yeah,
Charmy started with me January last year, so just over a year and 3 months. Really, should have done it a lot earlier, but it's a little bit like kind of the compound effect, because like one person doing something, you'll only get so far, but two people doing it, you'll get a lot further than two people separately, if that makes sense. You know, the total is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, well, with hindsight, you have the confidence to know something's going to work because it has worked. Yeah. And that is what puts the fear into a lot of people. If they don't know if it's going to work or not, they're a lot more hesitant about doing it. Like if I knew Amazon was going to be such a success for me, if I had known that 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have went to university. I would have taken out a student loan and just went full tilt at it.
Yeah.
But you only know what other people can tell you, and you take it if you trust their information or not. And same with any aspect of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see, is there any other questions or what's what?
A lot about chocolate. Last year I said chocolate somewhere.
I do like chocolate. VPN, VA. How long do you go VPN? Rushing, I would imagine you're near at the VA stage now. There's only so much you can be doing. Like the last time I was chatting to you, you were going very well. I would argue you should be at considering getting a virtual assistant by now. And Steve, with the credit cards, you're definitely missing it. Like if you're doing any online purchasing at all, using the credit card protects you against fraud. Yeah.
But same time, you will earn more money because most credit cards have some sort of cashback or some sort of, benefit. Yeah, just a.
I'm currently sitting. Well, this is financial advice. I'm currently sitting with £1,350 in cashback from Capital on Tap that I can pull out in actual cash. So that is free money from just doing what you were going to be doing anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was saying to Claire yesterday, she was asking me why I wasn't focusing on top cashback. And I was like, I don't bother chasing it up. If I get it, I get it. But my focus is cashback on the credit card. Because that is where it's easy money. There's never an issue. It's a incentive to get you to use a credit card. And I facilitate and use it.
Yeah, if you could, some wholesalers will take credit card as well. So if you're going to miss out on, the cash back elsewhere, you pick it up there. I think that's like, is that it for quick? But it's all nerves, LOL. Need to get my finger out. Still not sure who that is.
It's Roisin McNeil.
Oh, Roisin, right.
Yeah, and she needs a bit of a slap until they get on with it because she knows what she's doing, like.
Payment, is that the... Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's the one I've got.
It is, Rachel, yeah. Where does the cashback from Capital on Tap goes back to your Capital account?
So yeah, you can convert it to balance, can't you? Or you can convert it to Avios or Avos points, whatever they're called. So it sits in your account.
So yeah, it sits in your account. You've got balance, Avos, or you can actually pull it in cash, and they will put it into your bank account, either linked to your account, or I think you can change it to a different bank account, but it's a lot of effort with them. I did have somebody else message in the comments there, Lloyd, a guy, Reese, who says he's from Ireland as well. Just when I see a couple other Northern Irish people knocking about, I am very much in favour of organising another meeting in Belfast once our fearless leaders can clear all the roundabouts and get us back out of lockdown. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as lockdown's lifted.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, maybe get Sarah to come lift you or organise a taxi for you or something, and we can do that.
I'll be steering, mate. I'll be steering.
You steer. No, I am itching for a session in Belfast. I'm pretty sure the smell of the carpet and Weatherspoons will be enough to put me in my backside, but I'm okay with this. We can put the money into buying new jumpers.
Not sure what's cheaper, pints and the Weatherspoons or those jumpers, David?
I take that as a personal slight against me, but I'm pretty sure that's how it was meant. Do you pay your card off in full from every disbursement you get, or have you another tactic? Yeah.
Pay it off when it's due.
Pay it when it's due each month. Try and max it out so you get the full use out of it if you can, and just clear it every month. I really don't like to let it run over, because once you go out of the free interest period, you're just paying interest on it when you probably have the money sitting there financed, and you're just leaving money on the table. I do not like paying interest in it.
I'm pretty sure the interest on capital top is horrific.
I just don't let it happen at all. I just try and pull it back as much as I can. I clear it each month, because if you don't...
We had a meet up in Belfast it was actually on my birthday, 17th September, and we had a mini meet up in August, I think, didn't we? Me, you, and Donal and Kelvin.
No, he didn't come that day. There was an issue with traffic. He couldn't come. But yeah, as long as you don't mention the Ballynahinch rugby team, you're safe.
Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll leave with all your clothes.
If not, they'll take the shirt off your back. For anybody that doesn't know, we went out for the night, and Lloyd here started chatting away about rugby to a couple of girls who got really aggressive real quick, and Donal lost one of his hoodies, and we're convinced that in badness they stole it for whatever reason. New comments. What's the crack here? Happy to organise one, the UK one in the Midlands. Chris, I'm definitely up for that. When lockdown's over, finance is not going to be something I worry about when I plan on my social activities. I'm just going to go for it. Steve, yeah, definitely up for one. No, I'm pretty sure you could organise one now. Have you not got a big campsite in the middle of a forest where nobody would know you were there? We could just all go up there and have a bag of cans. Any other technical questions? Anything rather than me sitting talking drinking stories, or that's gonna...
I think we'll end on that last question, Eamon, if you care to answer that. I'm not sure he said that.
That is our good islander from Craggy Island, young Claire.
Oh, young Claire. Hi, Claire.
Young Claire wants to know what I consider designing my own jumper line.
Private label. You can do it. Arbitrage, wholesale, private label.
No, I would just go very basic black jumper and just leave it at that. So, this is the last time I make an effort for a Facebook Live. Next week I'll just be in a boiler suit and you can have it at that. Just my Snickers boiler suit and you can just have at it. Do you know it might be a better idea? I used my capital and tap a cashback and get Claire to do some shopping for me and see if she'll buy me some fleecy Harry Potter pajamas or socks or just a big dressing gown. I'll buy top dollar.
How can you see who? How can you? Am I not logged in properly? The only person I can see is Michelle.
Yeah, but the problem is that what I did was I went onto the Facebook iGen group as well, and I'm reading them off the Facebook iGen group.
Oh, you're cheating, right? Okay.
See, do you remember I said I like the technical side of things? This is why I like the technical side of things.
Cool. Well, maybe end it there then. What do you think?
Yeah. Guys and girls, thank everybody. Thanks so much for the engagement. There's 67 comments there. It really makes these lives so much easier when you're getting engagement rather than just talking to a laptop screen. And it saves me having to just talk to Lloyd because he's rather hard work to talk to. But yeah, Lloyd?
Yeah, it's been great. Really enjoyed it. Shame you were here.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get ready soon.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been emotional. What I would say is anybody that has any sort of follow-up questions, drop them in the chat and we'll get back to them. If there's anything you want to know more information on, I'm not at much else the rest of the evening. Feel free to private message me, have a chat about whatever it is for whatever reason. Claire, get on to me about jumper designs. It'd be great. Anybody that's looking any advice or help, just give either myself or Lloyd a shout and we'll do our best to help you and get you.
Yes, and the last thing, the person who is on next week, I spent an hour on it. I spent an hour on a call with him yesterday, steady, and unreal. Very, very interesting guy. Really, really nice guy, doing insane numbers on Amazon. So yeah, this time next week's definitely worth tuning in. So I'm sure that'll be announced soon. But really enjoyed it, and likewise, it's always good to chat to people. So any questions or anything like that, and
Right, I'll let you pull the pin.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, have a nice evening, guys, and have a good
later, guys and girls.
See ya.
You've no idea how to turn this off, do you?
Nope. No idea.
Well, I think I can remove myself, but then that's just going to be you live streaming to the world. I have no idea because Lloyd set this or looks set it up and screen camera.
It's not even like a button. It's like I'm just looking for a big red button that says hang up.
Down at the bottom, you've got your camera settings and you can remove source. See if you can remove your source from down there and see. Well,
just click this.
There we go. Right, that's rid of him. So now I'm in full control. Any of us want to revolute me some cash, and I will just completely take over the iGen group and give you all their 2 leads. Now, guys, thanks very much for your time this evening, and we'll catch you again next week. Bye now.